Çok teşekkürler işbirliğiniz için ve tabii ki zaman yönetimi adına teşekkür ediyorum.
Navigating trends, opportunities, strategies and challenges. Hemen bizim kıymetli moderatörümüz
Now I would like to invite our moderator, Ferzan Çelikkanat, General Manager of Yatırım. You should kindly maybe invite our panelists. The floor is yours. Thank you very much. To be timely effective, I would like to invite Ms. Neşecan Çekici, Chairperson of the Board of GYODER, Demirpençe, General Manager of Akfen REIT, Bruno, Hallé, Boix, Partner Co-Head of Hospitality Spain, Cushman and Wakefield, and Onur Kurç, Vice President of Development of Accor. Hello again, distinguished panelists, distinguished participants. Thank you for being here. Today we have had various sessions, all very informing. Both in terms of figures, we have now maybe a wider horizon, and as well for about tourism investment potentials in Turkey. We heard a lot and received much messages maybe. The state officials also gave us messages, and now we know that the investor profile of Turkey is also very connected with the real estate industry as well, even though this is specifically about tourism. We heard a lot how these two fields are connected. Tourism investor or maybe a hotel investor also, of course, needs to look into real estates, real estate ownership, real estate development. This is important for especially city investors and also many other investors. So from tourism to hospitality to accommodation and all, we hotel investors are firstly real estate investors. Being a real estate investor, of course, brings many other dynamics, specific dynamics, but also in hotel operations, we turn our property into a completely different, maybe, product. And there are two branches of that, maybe. One is related with the valuation of the real estate itself, and the other one is the valuation of tourism. So an asset valuation and an operation valuation are brought together. We have now with us four valuable guests, all experts in their fields, and we will hear from them. We are curious about what they will say. So GYODER is one of the associations that brings real estate people together under its roof in Turkey. So I will ask Ms. Çekici to offer us maybe a general perspective. How do you consider the perspective of hotel investors towards real estate? And also, could you offer us an overview of the real estate investors themselves? Thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to thank you for this great event, to all the organizers. It helps a lot with the synergy to be created. On behalf of my association, I would like to thank you. So firstly, we need to look at the sectoral dynamics. The licensing number in Turkey maybe can help us have an overview. For hospitality, for accommodation properties, we can say that they have a rather small share in real estate properties overall. It's around 2 to 4%. We have about 2 to 4% of licensing for accommodation. However, in the Aegean and the Mediterranean sides of the country, it can go up to 15 or 20%. Last year, it was 1.2%. But in office, it's twice as much. In housing, it's much, much higher. And on the other hand, the REITs in our country, as you know, is a point of interest for tourism investors. And we see almost 1/3 of the investors of real estate have tourism in their portfolio, and there's a great momentum of that, and we've been following the increasing figures. There are some emerging trends, analyses, a lot of studies, and we take a look at the projections of 2025, and we see that hotel investors for resilience, tourism is in top 10 fields. So this is a field of flexibility, and this is always a sub-segment for the real estaters to keep a close track on. And the GDP of the world by 3% is created by tourism. And for sustainability and digitalization, of course, there will be maybe more increase. And this is a new, this also brings about some new sectors with us. We, as real estate people, look at also the value and value creation. And investment in new areas and more studies has always been important for our association as well. Another matter addressed today was about branding. Yes, modern consumers have now different demands, and these came on the rise. Authentication, personalization, and that's why brand resilience come to use, and also some residences are built in this regard and reshaped. And repurposing is another matter. And there we see some changes of function, different residences where there are more functions, various other functions, maybe reselling, re-renting, and also leasing and so on. So there are different types of valuation analyses, sales, pre-sales, and also feasibility. These are all important matters for valuation. And also local segments other than luxury, and satisfaction in the field. We see, especially for boutique type of businesses, eco-friendly products are rather more preferred. Coverage, inclusiveness for society also are important matters. So as of our association, I can say we pay close attention to such matters. Partnerships also are more important. Cooperating with a brand not only brings about prestige, but also value for brands. And sustainability, environmental effects also are included into the scope. The usage of added value created by brands, brand penetration, ability to utilize maybe brand awareness activities or campaigns such as ads or commercials. These are all elements that create more valuation. Another advantage is to diversify the target audience in conventional and mass tourism. Other than those, more specified, more individualized products can offer us a larger scale. So it's not about all roses. Yes, we have good expectations, maybe. So as an association of real estaters, I can say we have a lot of high expectations in tourism industry, but we also know that there is also an increase in cost and also maybe a fiercer competition. But there's an opportunity window. This is about creating an ecosystem. Let's consider there's a residential project for a brand. It's not only about residents, but a brand can also address to it from the artistic perspectives, add gastronomy to it. So it's adding more and more rings to the value-added chain. So real estate as a service. This is now, as you know, it's not only about land or area or plots or building blocks, but also what we now call a real estate industry is a service industry. And in the developing real estate industry, housing and sustainable tourism like events can help us open up more for our investments. And this was also raised in the morning sessions. Many figures were mentioned. Yes, I'm trying to break down everything very fast, not going into details, but these are the general trends and titles, and these are what we have been observing in trend reports. Yes, maybe the capital markets, fund values, and financial instruments. The use of real estate for this purpose is another matter. So I'm wondering what your experience is, but I will turn to Bruno now, if you will allow me.
You have a very deep experience in Spanish markets, and I'm sure you have a lots of green and red decisions on your tables with the Cushman experience. I'm very curious, and also about the audience, I'm sure they are curious about what you did the right things, and what is your experience you would like to tell us for the Turkish markets, and what you think about how the hospitality business make relations with the real estate, on your perspective.
Yeah, thank you very, very much for the invitation and for the questions. I'm taking that off so I have no echoes. I double.
It's okay.
Yeah, hear me double. We have to say that Spain has always been a very typical lease model where you have owners, family offices that invested in their hotels, and you have operators that paid a lease on it, or very much family-owned, family-run properties, okay? So we are a very big country with big numbers in tourism, the second destination worldwide, and those families that they have two hotels together, they consider a chain, okay? So we have a lot of hotel chains. But the important thing that happened in Spain, I would say pandemic created a big difference, the pandemia, COVID. 2019 and 2020, when the pandemic arrived, there was a lot of distressed assets. And then we opened up the entrance of the investors, international investors coming into Spain. That generated an opportunity to transform, as we said earlier, to transform those hotels from a 3-star typical tour-operated hotel into a 4- and 5-star property, reducing inventory, reducing number of rooms, putting a lot of capex, and investing in that property. So we had a shift in the last 4 or 5 years in that type of ownerships, and that is because of the entrance of those international investors. But that wouldn't happen if those investors did not come with international brands. That changed the model in the Spanish industry. I have to say one number. Last year, 2023, we closed the year with around 3 billion, with a B, of euros in hotel investment. This year, 2024, we have closed Q3 in 1.8, 1.9. We will be between 2.5 and 3 billion again. That's a big number. And that is the biggest number in transactions in real estate in Spain is in the hospitality industry. More than offices, more than residential, more than logistics. Why? Because we are giving, or the hospitality industry is giving a very secure return. So it's giving one lender that gives a return. This return has a yield in cities like Barcelona or Madrid between 5.5%. That is very interesting for those investors.
Is the average of the Spain or?
No, that's for Barcelona and Madrid.
Only.
If you go in secondary tier 2, tier 3 cities, or in the outskirts of the main cities, probably you are around more at 6.5% and 7%. But the good thing as well is that we have, like in Turkey, you have urban destinations and you have leisure destinations. And the mix is very, very interesting for all those investors. So we've seen a big change. We are resuming, we come from a very stabilized, family-run, family-owned. The investors have helped to change this model in Spain that probably will occur in Turkey as well and other countries.
So it looks there's a lots of lessons we should understand in your success stories. Yeah, Ece Hanım, aslında siz de hem gayrimenkul
So Ece, for real estate and hospitality, you in your company have them both, and you're the general manager of that. We're accustomed to see the importance given to REITs. However, when this is maybe put to life with hotel operations in real estate investment models, many wonder about disadvantages and advantages. So as a REIT, how would you match your products, real estate products? Can you tell us a little about your story and what the lessons from me would like to buy for investors who have some similar ideas? I'll go specific, rather general. I'll concentrate on urban hotels, city hotels. Maybe this will be partial, but I'm a fan of urban cities, and Akfen has 19 hotel investments, so I cannot be impartial. Every choice is giving up on the other one. But we're happy about where we are. Urban hotels. So from luxury leisure travel to business travel, this is a sector that covers both. Branded city hotels are on the rise, and this rise shapes the strategic decisions of brands and many investors. Branded urban hotels. Globally speaking, we know that hotel chains are not only offering accommodation services, but concentrate on making their customers have an experience other than high-quality service, comfort, design, personalized services, food and drinks. They come to foreground. Yes, location is very important for cities because these are rather the areas you want to invest in. Some locations which will help you get mingled into the city, but we see some wellness centers and also art galleries and other authenticized services of attraction points. So this is a detailed way of shaping of branded urban hotels. As Akfen REITs, we attach great importance to sustainability. We are one of the REITs, top 3 REITs indexed. We see that sustainable hotels are becoming more and more popular. Eco-friendly systems, practices that support locals make city hotels more attractive. One other trend is about seamless services and combination of those with our today's technologies, online apps, online check and check out transactions help maybe more to attract younger audiences. Many talked about figures. I don't want to repeat them, but we're talking about an industry which has a capacity of about of 2 million, and 56% of them are of foreign chains and 43% are rather local. And from an investor's perspective, I can say in the foreign side, we rather see management and franchising. So it shows that the foreign investors are rather cautious for the sector. But the fact that there's so much demand also shows that the foreign investors also have their eyes on the industry and they don't want to easily exit. So we have a lot of demands coming our way recently, especially, and what should we be maybe paying more attention to if we have time. I'll go another round. All right, but let me wrap up. The contribution of these hotels to regional economy is indisputable, and one element that is sine qua non of the country. I believe that new opportunities will arise for investments to urban hotels. This is related with urbanization actions, and also our consumers will be more and more aware of the protection of nature. And our operations are done by Accor, which is world renowned, and in line with our expertise, we have so far continued with our expertise and investments. So we'll see how of an expert they are now. Yes, but we are in a good cooperation with them. We believe that they're very good, so maybe you should give some details. I should not speak on your behalf. All right, thank you very much. With this role model, you did the first of its kind in Turkey, creating such a partnership of real estate and having the long-term leasing contract signed. So this is a good milestone, a good referring point for the combination of tourism and real estate industries. A good example. Onur is an old friend to me and was one of the first sponsors of this meeting, one I convinced into sponsorship. So he is one of the managers of Accor, and we know what Accor is and the brands of Accor, as AJ said. For investors that want to brand a real estate, yes, there are some brands, few brands, but the thing about you is that you have a lot of experience across the country, especially, and you rub shoulders with a lot of investors. But when branding a real estate, be it a hotel or mostly a residential unit, to what do you pay attention? What kind of clues or tricks would you give to an investor of a real estate so they can prepare themselves for such a potential? Thank you very much, Ferzan. So the Tourism Investors Association does a lot of good work just because of doing that, and I'm proud to be a part of it as someone from Accor Group. So in the beginning, you said something very valuable. Yes, we maybe build hotels, but what we do, in a sense, is an investment. So this is a financial work. When you start your investment, there are three questions we ask. And sometimes you cannot ask these to the investors as a brand. But the first three questions are as follows. Who will come to our investment, and how frequently they will come, and how much will they pay? When you answer these three questions, then you can have a revenue projection easily. And in accordance with this revenue projection, you will need to do a brand positioning if this is not an eco investments. So we have so far in Turkey saw a lot of eco investments, but the second generations are now to support the financial instruments, financial experts, and GYODER-like associations and other NGOs have now been involved, and the matter has become more and more professionalized. And also the real estate investment trusts become exemplary in this regard. And now the shift is towards more specifically to investment. So what matters for us is indeed how much will the investors make, because we are on the winning side as long as the investor wins. Therefore, with the investor, we have to act right. We need to choose the right restaurant, come up with the right wellness concept. And what we have been discussing over the past 3 years is that we're not constructing hotels for tourists or business people. We're building we want to build hotels for the local people residing in that area, because the more they use the hotel, the more traffic created will help the hotel survive more. We have one hotel in Istanbul, and in the last Halloween, 2,500 people bought tickets and came there. So this makes the catering part of the hotel work, and also make the hotel get more integrated with the local people and generate more revenue and profit. So in the decision-making process as a brand, you get involved. Do you get involved and make some recommendations? Definitely, yes, because what matters for us is to make sure that the investor makes money. So the hotel investment starts all the way from the beginning, in planning, any architectural designing. Let me give you an example. For example, wrong positioning of depots, or maybe the entry and exit areas being mispositioned would reflect negatively, and then it will reflect on your profitability margins. And the world now is talking about sustainability. This is one of the most important things for us all, to consume the energy resources less, to spend less. Yes, energy is needed, cooling, heating, and so on. But on the other hand, we talk about food waste. We have a lot of hotels. We have 800,000 rooms across the world, and it matters. It all trickles down to how well we can manage it and reduce food waste. So Neşecan talked about a hotel definition in real estate investments, and the ratio was rather low. But maybe by way of working with you, such consultants, then energy efficiency or right way of energy investments can help the real estate to continue with its process more effectively, or with rather more awareness. So we can this way increase the ratio, the share of tourism industry taking from the real estate. We can express it to the investors who have maybe rather more appetite. And maybe I interrupted you there, but for real estate, in capital markets, with the ability of that finding its capacity of valuation, what kind of an instrument can it be? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because with the operational revenues of the hotel, we will see a business that generates income from the real estate itself and from the tourism business itself, and the return of investment in the real estate property will be quicker. Yes, with the capital market instruments being interrelated with that, coming up with a good investment instrument starts from that. So such property is very much fit. We know about REITs, and we said that tourism has about a 3% of share. But what are the characteristics? It's transparent, it's official, these are clear products, and also recorded products. And what is needed for that? It should be well managed, resilient, integrated, inclusive, and green supporting. So these are all related with the sustainability development goals of the UN. Sustainability 17. These are all elements that would contribute to it. And these are at the same time demanded by the capital markets as instruments and should be included. Therefore, as an instrument of investment, it becomes important. And these are all also audited, the real estates. A tourism facility or maybe another product in accommodation or hospitality industry. How they are harmonized with other financial instruments. Well, you cannot maybe have a property ownership for all independent units and not maybe issue title deeds, and therefore we will see real estate investment funds in many instruments. Hotels will maybe selling their shares in forms of maybe bonds, and we will be conducting with a lot of work with the capital markets board. Yes, as we had a meeting with the president of the capital markets board just before we made it here. So to turn these into maybe real estate funds, they were very interested to listen to what we had to say. Yes, they're very open to come up with diversification of products and coming up with new products, because you will create a new added value here, a certain mechanism and momentum. Because it's not only build, operate, or sell or lease or rent or whatsoever, but now there is a lot of other diversity, other sources of diversity in the market. And one thing is needed, a professional business plan is needed, other than the models themselves. And you will need efficiency, productivity for your enterprise, for your business. And the revenue expectation should be set in the beginning. Because an investor will have a value, have an idea in their minds about their return on investment. And if the return, the true return on investment and the ideas in the mind of the investor do not match, it's not nice. So we hope that this will be done in a planned way. Therefore, it's very important to have valuation. It's a very detailed interdisciplinary matter, valuation. So that's why valuation quality is important, and with expertise cooperation, we should go over all these matters as a learning, maybe as a learning enterprise or a business. Thank you very much. This was really horizon opening. Sometimes maybe people have good intentions, but they fall indecisive how to manage their intentions. Therefore, valuation and doing it with a certain field of discipline will be a good guidance.
So Spain is always powerful players in these sectors. So could you please tell us what is the trends in hospitality? What's going on in the European sides? And is there any recommendations for the Turkish investors?
Yeah.
So about the new demands on the markets.
Thank you for that question. And one of the things that we learned in the past is that clearly, as an asset class, hotels, it's a living beast. I mean, it's a living box. So it's very important what you put inside the box. And as a return, one of the things that we learn is that we have to look the return per square meter more than the return as a whole. So it's very important when you go into the valuation, because at the end the valuation is a discounted cash flow. So what is inside this box? And coming back to your point is that it's very important that you select a type of food and beverage concept. So it's very important to analyze that, to put it inside of that building, because this is one of the trends. So it's not only a hotel, it's something that brings activity from the -5 up to the rooftop. And everything that you put inside adds into this box. So I would say if there is something in a trend that works, it has to work in that box. You can have a concept of co-working inside of a hotel. You can have a 2-star Michelin, or you can have a lifestyle restaurant. But the important is that return per square meter. If I have to say what would be the quote? It would be the return per square meter, clearly.
So concentrate, the first decision is very important, as I understand. If you give the first decisions, you start with the per square meters return of investments, and then maybe it will be the pass through the Onur. Buradan da sana geçmek lazım. Yani bu kadar her bir metrekare.
I will pass to Onur here. So valuation of every square meter is important in this market. So in such a market, I'm curious. I believe that our audience is curious as well. On the other side of the table, as we listen to real estate people rather than brands, what are they sensitive to? Real estate people, what are their expectations? What do they dream of? Well, here there's an important threshold on the real estate side. If we have an investment profile that are house developers, they focus on return on investment. They expect fast returns. But in the recent period, in big projects, we integrate hotel blocks. For example, in Antalya, we have a new project. We have 400,000 square meters. We have offices, we have residents, we have a hotel, and we have housing blocks, normal housing blocks. When we integrate a brand in this mixed-use project, it affects the brand positively. So what investors expect is to use the power of that brand and increase their price for per square meter. So brand creates a lever, you say. Yes, exactly. When we look at Zincirlikuyu neighborhood of Istanbul, this is not the most luxurious land of Istanbul, but when we look at the entire project, we have an ultra luxurious brand, Raffles Hotel. Ultra luxurious it is. We have luxurious brands, restaurants. We have the first Apple store that opened here. So this is all the effect of the brand. If this is planned by the investor beforehand, the investor becomes successful. But if you build a hotel, a standalone hotel, if the investor does not calculate the investment very well, then it does not go a long way. This does not please the investor. So the investor must be guided in terms of design, in terms of architecture. We would like to guide them so that the return on investment is as desired. So the investors, when they go through the process of brand standards, what do you think of their belief in sustainability? Is everyone sensitive to sustainability? Does everyone believe in sustainability? Well, there are a few factors that are important here. First of all, the new generation's interest in sustainability, because we all live in the same world and we all share the resources in this world. Secondly, energy efficiency of the building after becoming a hotel and having a good profit margin. This is the second factor. This reflects positively in valuation. And the third factor is that financial institutions are creating financial resources and they are going to come up with sustainability criteria. They're going to bring us in front of us. Yes, they already talk about that. They said that this will be the first requirement. Yes, tomorrow when we try to create financing for our hotel investments, we need to abide by the we will need to abide by the sustainability criteria. Well, Ece Hanım, you talked about sustainability and you said that you attach importance to the sustainability of your real estate investments. Well, in the upcoming process for the modeling or identification of a real estate investment, what are you going to analyze such investments? Hinterland, in terms of hinterland, in terms of the investment itself, if sustainability is important, how about access to financing, etc. I'm asking, if you are to create an investment portfolio from scratch, what kind of a map would you follow? What would you recommend to people in terms of such investments? Well, actually, we answered this question during the pandemic for our investors. When you look at the portfolio of Akfen, before the breakdown was focused on one sector only. But as tourism was largely affected by the pandemic, we took another look at our portfolio and the diversification of our portfolio. Now we focus on dormitories, office buildings, etc. We'll look at different kinds of real estate investments. Now they're a part of our portfolio. So one of the issues that are discussed in this scope is the parameters that the investment will look at and where sustainability stands. This was one of the purposes that we had when we prepared our index. First of all, we want to protect the nature. We want to be environmentally conscious. And secondly, when we consider that the real estate sector is going through challenges in the recent years, access to financing is important. And from an operational point of view, we have to optimize the costs in the long run. The other day, I talked in an event on sustainability. It has some effect on valuation. We can see the effects of valuation in financial reports. So we are trying to consider all of these parameters at once. When we look at our hotel investments, of course, the priority is pricing. We have to have the right prices. We have to be able to foresee the right prices. We have to have professional operators. If we are to start from scratch, we would have these same parameters. At the end of the day, what is important is to find the right pricing. We have to consider seasonality, competitiveness, advantages and disadvantages of locations. When we talk about urban hotels, of course, the costs of land are quite high, but it gives you a foreseeable cash flow. So for investors, it is foreseeable. It has fast return on investment. This is true for urban hotels. So I would look at those parameters. And we are also trying to follow the new trends. The expectations of millennials are different now for such investments. Yes, location and comfort are important, but experience is now very important. Yes, now there is the economy of experience now that we're talking about. Yes, exactly. It could be commercial structures or it could be residential. Experience is important. Okay, thank you very much. We have come to the end of our time. When we were trying to find this topic for this panel, we tried to consider that hotel operators, hotel owners are also real estate owners. And we wanted to talk about what they should do to have more profits. Thank you very much, Bruno, Onur, Ece Hanım. I hope that the rest of the day will be as enjoyable as so far. Thank you very much. Thank you for this enjoyable panel. We will take a photo.